The discovery of the garage. In the quiet town of Maplewood, where the streets were lined with maple trees and the houses were painted in soft pastels, lived a curious teenager named Leo. At 16, he was known for his insatiable curiosity and knack for tinkering with gadgets. His room was a chaotic blend of circuit boards, wires, and half-finished projects that often left his parents shaking their heads in disbelief. One sunny Saturday afternoon, while exploring the outskirts of town on his bike, Leo stumbled upon an old, dilapidated garage hidden behind overgrown bushes. The structure appeared to be abandoned for years, its wooden door hanging off its hinges and the windows covered in grime. Intrigued by the mystery it presented, Leo parked his bike and approached cautiously. As he pushed the creaky door open, a cloud of dust enveloped him. Inside, the garage was dimly lit by shafts of sunlight filtering through cracks in the walls. Tools hung haphazardly on the walls, and various mechanical parts lay scattered across the concrete floor. But what caught Leo's eye was a large object covered with a tattered tarp in the corner. With excitement bubbling inside him, Leo hurried over and pulled off the tarp. Revealed beneath was a peculiar contraption that resembled a mix between a cannon and a telescope. Its metallic surface was adorned with buttons and switches that seemed to beckon him closer. "What is this?" Leo murmured to himself as he examined it closely. He noticed strange symbols etched into its surface, symbols he had never seen before. His mind raced with possibilities. Could it be some sort of experimental weapon? Or perhaps a piece of art from an eccentric inventor? After inspecting it for several minutes, Leo's fingers began to itch with curiosity. He reached for one of the buttons and pressed it gently. To his astonishment, a low hum resonated from the device, followed by a series of flashing lights that danced across its surface. "Whoa!" Leo exclaimed, stepping back in surprise. The sound was unlike anything he had ever heard before, a deep vibration that seemed to resonate within his very bones. Suddenly, he heard footsteps approaching from outside the garage. Panic surged through him as he quickly covered the contraption back with the tarp and ducked behind an old workbench. Peering through a gap in the wood, he saw two figures enter, their faces obscured by shadows. "Did you hear that?" one of them asked in a hushed tone. "Yeah," replied the other voice, which sounded older and more authoritative. "It came from here." Leo held his breath as they moved closer to where he was hiding. He could see their silhouettes now. One was tall and lanky while the other appeared stockier with broad shoulders. "I told you we shouldn't have come here," said the lanky figure nervously. "Relax," said the stocky one dismissively. "We're just checking out this old place." Leo's heart raced as he listened intently to their conversation. He had no idea who these people were or what they wanted with the garage. Were they thieves? Or perhaps they were looking for something specific? As they continued to search through the cluttered space, Leo felt a surge of determination wash over him. He couldn't let them discover what he had found. This mysterious device could be something extraordinary. After what felt like an eternity of holding his breath, Leo decided it was time to make his move. He quietly slipped out from behind the workbench and crept towards the exit at the back of the garage. Just as he reached for the door handle, he heard one of them call out sharply. "Hey! Who's there?" Adrenaline coursed through Leo's veins as he swung open the door and bolted into the thick underbrush outside. He could hear their footsteps pounding behind him but didn't dare look back. He sprinted toward his bike parked nearby. With every ounce of strength left in him, Leo hopped onto his bike and pedaled furiously down the narrow path leading away from the garage. The sounds of pursuit faded behind him as he navigated through familiar streets back toward home. Once safe in his room later that evening, Leo sat on his bed staring at his collection of gadgets scattered around him but feeling utterly consumed by thoughts of that strange device in the garage. What was it? And why were those people searching for it? Determined to find answers, Leo decided he would return to that garage tomorrow, this time prepared with tools and knowledge gleaned from online research about similar devices he had encountered in sci-fi movies and books. As night fell over Maplewood, Leo's mind buzzed with possibilities about what lay hidden within that forgotten space, a world waiting to be uncovered just beyond his reach. Part 2, The Experiment. Dr. Evelyn Hart was not your typical scientist. She preferred solitude over social gatherings and spent most of her time buried in her research at her home laboratory nestled on a quiet hill overlooking Maplewood. Her reputation as an eccentric genius preceded her, known for her groundbreaking work in energy technology but equally infamous for her reclusive nature. On this particular day, she was engrossed in her latest project, an experiment aimed at harnessing renewable energy from unconventional sources when she received an unexpected visitor at her doorstep, a young boy covered in dirt with wild eyes filled with excitement. "Dr. Hart!" Leo exclaimed breathlessly as she opened her door, slightly puzzled by this unexpected intrusion into her carefully ordered life. "What brings you here?" she asked cautiously but intrigued by his enthusiasm. "I found something amazing," Leo blurted out before launching into an explanation about discovering an old garage filled with strange equipment, including a peculiar device that hummed when activated. Dr. Hart raised an eyebrow skeptically but felt compelled by his passion. There was something genuine about this boy's excitement that piqued her interest despite her initial hesitation. "Show me," she said finally after weighing her options carefully. Leo led Dr. Hart back through winding paths until they reached the abandoned garage once more. His heart raced again at seeing it up close after their previous encounter only hours before. As they entered together this time without fear or hesitation, Dr. Hart's eyes widened at seeing what lay beneath that dusty tarp, a device unlike anything she had ever encountered before in her years studying energy systems. "This is incredible," she gasped as she stepped forward to examine it closely while Leo watched eagerly beside her, his youthful enthusiasm infectious even amidst Dr. Hart's analytical demeanor. "What do you think it does?" Leo asked curiously while trying hard not to touch anything else within reach lest he disrupt whatever delicate balance existed around them, both now standing side by side before this mysterious invention waiting patiently for discovery after years lost among forgotten memories hidden away within its rusted shell. "I'm not entirely sure yet," Dr. Hart replied thoughtfully after several moments spent examining its components closely, her scientific mind racing ahead already trying to piece together how such technology might function based on initial observations made thus far without any prior knowledge about its origins or purpose behind creation itself, which remained shrouded deep within shadows cast long ago when first built, perhaps even centuries earlier than present day itself if not longer still. After several hours spent analyzing every inch meticulously alongside Leo, who eagerly assisted wherever possible, they finally managed to gather enough understanding about how it operated based solely upon intuition gained through years spent tinkering, themselves both separately yet now united toward common goal shared between them both alike despite age difference separating them, otherwise completely different lives lived apart until fate intervened bringing them together unexpectedly. Amidst chaos swirling around outside world beyond walls surrounding this forgotten place lost time itself. Finally satisfied enough with findings made thus far, they decided it was time to move forward beyond mere speculation toward actual experimentation instead. "Let's see if we can get it working," Dr. Hart suggested excitedly, glancing sideways at young boy beside her who nodded vigorously, agreeing wholeheartedly without hesitation whatsoever, reflecting same eagerness shared between them both now united toward common cause ahead waiting patiently just beyond horizon stretching infinitely outward forevermore. They began carefully assembling parts needed together while discussing theories behind operation along way, sharing ideas freely, bouncing thoughts off one another like children playing games, inventing new rules governing playtime, filled laughter, joyfulness surrounding every moment spent together, exploring unknown realms awaiting discovery just around corner, hidden beneath layers dust grime accumulated over years forgotten long ago. Hours passed quickly as they worked tirelessly side by side, fueled by passion, curiosity driving them forward, relentlessly refusing give up until finally, after much trial error, experimentation, endless adjustments, tweaking settings here there, eventually managed to produce first successful test run, producing bright beam light illuminating entire space around them, filling air, charged electricity, crackling excitement, palpable feeling coursing through veins both alike. "Did you see that?" exclaimed Leo, jumping up, down, excitement bubbling forth uncontrollably, unable contain joy radiating outward, infectious, contagious, spreading quickly, infecting everyone present, enveloping entire room, atmosphere, charged anticipation, electric thrill coursing through veins like wildfire, raging uncontrollably, consuming everything surrounding them, engulfing minds, hearts, souls alike, bringing forth new possibilities, previously unimaginable, now suddenly within reach, graspable, tangible, real. Yes. This is remarkable, replied Dr. Hart, grinning widely, unable hide delight, reflecting back youthful exuberance, shining brightly, illuminating face, glowing radiantly, filled hope, dreams, aspirations, soaring high above clouds, reaching heights previously thought unattainable, now suddenly attainable, real possibility, tangible reality unfolding before eyes, witnessing miracle unfold right here, right now. But just then, a loud crash echoed outside, interrupting momentarily, pulling attention away from triumph achieved, momentarily lost amidst chaos swirling around outside, world beyond walls surrounding, sanctuary created, safe haven, refuge found amidst turmoil raging outside, threatening disrupt, tranquility established inside, sanctuary built together, brick foundation laid, strong, solid, unyielding, resilient, capable weather any storm thrown against it, regardless how fierce, relentless nature might prove itself, testing limits, pushing boundaries, stretching far beyond comfort zones established, previously known, familiar territory explored countless times before, always returning, same place, seeking solace, comfort found within, embrace, warm safety cocoon wrapped tightly around hearts, souls alike. What was that? Asked Leo, turning toward doorway, concern etched across features, face reflecting worry, uncertainty creeping, slowly creeping inside, threatening disrupt harmony established moments earlier shared between two unlikely companions, brought together, fate, destiny intertwining lives, forever changed, irrevocably altered course, future lay ahead, waiting patiently just beyond horizon, stretching infinitely outward, forevermore. The experiment. Dr. Evelyn Hart was not your typical scientist. She preferred solitude over social gatherings and spent most of her time buried in her research at her home laboratory nestled on a quiet hill overlooking Maplewood. Her reputation as an eccentric genius preceded her, known for her groundbreaking work in energy technology but equally infamous for her reclusive nature. On this particular day, she was engrossed in her latest project, an experiment aimed at harnessing renewable energy from unconventional sources, when she received an unexpected visitor at her doorstep, a young boy covered in dirt with wild eyes filled with excitement. Dr. Hart! Leo exclaimed breathlessly as she opened her door, slightly puzzled by this unexpected intrusion into her carefully ordered life. What brings you here? She asked cautiously, but intrigued by his enthusiasm. I found something amazing, Leo blurted out before launching into an explanation about discovering an old garage filled with strange equipment, including a peculiar device that hummed when activated. Dr. Hart raised an eyebrow skeptically but felt compelled by his passion. There was something genuine about this boy's excitement that piqued her interest despite her initial hesitation. Show me, she said finally after weighing her options carefully. Leo led Dr. Hart back through winding paths until they reached the abandoned garage once more. His heart raced again at seeing it up close after their previous encounter only hours before. As they entered together, this time without fear or hesitation, Dr. Hart's eyes widened at seeing what lay beneath that dusty tarp, a device unlike anything she had ever encountered before in her years studying energy systems. This is incredible, she gasped as she stepped forward to examine it closely while Leo watched eagerly beside her, his youthful enthusiasm infectious even amidst Dr. Hart's analytical demeanor. What do you think it does? Leo asked curiously while trying hard not to touch anything else within reach lest he disrupt whatever delicate balance existed around them, both now standing side by side before this mysterious invention, waiting patiently for discovery after years lost among forgotten memories hidden away within its rusted shell. I'm not entirely sure yet, Dr. Hart replied thoughtfully after several moments spent examining its components closely, her scientific mind racing ahead, already trying to piece together how such technology might function based on initial observations made thus far without any prior knowledge about its origins or purpose behind creation itself, which remained shrouded deep within shadows cast long ago when first built, perhaps even centuries earlier than present day itself, if not longer still. After several hours spent analyzing every inch meticulously alongside Leo, who eagerly assisted wherever possible, they finally managed to gather enough understanding about how it operated based solely upon intuition gained through years spent tinkering themselves both separately yet now united toward common goal shared between them both alike despite age difference separating them otherwise completely different lives lived apart until fate intervened bringing them together unexpectedly. Amidst chaos swirling around outside world beyond walls surrounding this forgotten place lost time itself. Finally satisfied enough with findings made thus far, they decided it was time move forward beyond mere speculation toward actual experimentation instead. Let's see if we can get it working, Dr. Hart suggested excitedly glancing sideways at young boy beside her who nodded vigorously agreeing wholeheartedly without hesitation whatsoever reflecting same eagerness shared between them both now united toward common cause ahead waiting patiently just beyond horizon stretching infinitely outward forevermore. They began carefully assembling parts needed together while discussing theories behind operation along way sharing ideas freely bouncing thoughts off one another like children playing games inventing new rules governing playtime filled laughter joyfulness surrounding every moment spent together exploring unknown realms awaiting discovery just around corner hidden beneath layers dust grime accumulated over years forgotten long ago. Hours passed quickly as they worked tirelessly side by side fueled by passion curiosity driving them forward relentlessly refusing give up until finally after much trial error experimentation endless adjustments tweaking settings here there eventually managed produce first successful test run producing bright beam light illuminating entire space around them filling air charged electricity crackling excitement palpable feeling, coursing through veins both alike. "Did you see that?" exclaimed Leo jumping up down excitement bubbling forth uncontrollably unable contain joy radiating outward infectious contagious spreading quickly infecting everyone present enveloping entire room atmosphere charged anticipation electric thrill coursing through veins like wildfire raging uncontrollably consuming everything surrounding them engulfing minds hearts souls alike bringing forth new possibilities, previously unimaginable now suddenly within reach graspable tangible. Real. "Yes. This is remarkable," replied Dr. Hart grinning widely unable hide delight reflecting back youthful exuberance shining brightly illuminating face glowing radiantly filled hope dreams aspirations soaring high above clouds reaching heights previously thought unattainable now suddenly attainable real possibility tangible reality unfolding before eyes witnessing miracle unfold right here right now. But just then, a loud crash echoed outside interrupting momentarily pulling attention away from triumph achieved momentarily lost amidst chaos swirling around outside world beyond walls surrounding sanctuary created safe haven refuge found amidst turmoil raging outside threatening disrupt tranquility established inside sanctuary built together brick foundation laid strong solid unyielding, resilient capable weather any storm thrown against it regardless how fierce relentless nature might prove itself testing limits pushing boundaries stretching far beyond comfort zones established previously known familiar territory explored countless times before always returning same place seeking solace comfort found within embrace warm safety cocoon wrapped tightly around hearts souls alike. "What was that?" asked Leo turning toward doorway concern etched across features face reflecting worry uncertainty slowly creeping inside threatening disrupt harmony established moments earlier shared between two unlikely companions brought together fate destiny intertwining lives forever changed irrevocably altered course future lay ahead waiting patiently just beyond horizon stretching infinitely outward forevermore. Dr. Hart frowned, instinctively moving toward the door to investigate. "Let's check it out," she said, motioning for Leo to follow. They stepped outside, the cool evening air filling their lungs as they scanned the surroundings. In the distance, they could see flickering lights and hear the faint sound of sirens approaching. "It looks like something happened nearby," Leo said, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Hart nodded, her scientific curiosity piqued. "We should stay alert. If there's been an incident, it could be related to our experiment." As they stood there, the sirens grew louder, and a sense of urgency filled the air. "We need to get back inside and secure our findings," Dr. Hart said decisively. "If anyone discovers what we've been working on." Leo's eyes widened with realization. They could take it away. We can't let that happen. Together, they hurried back into the garage, locking the door behind them. The hum of their device still resonated softly in the background, a reminder of their recent breakthrough amid the chaos outside. Let's document everything we've done so far, Dr. Hart instructed as she pulled out a notebook and began jotting down notes about their experiment and its unexpected results. We need to ensure we have a record of our work. Leo grabbed his phone and started recording a video, capturing every detail of their setup and explaining their process for anyone who might later view it. This is going to be epic, he exclaimed, his excitement bubbling over despite the tension in the air. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from outside, followed by a series of rapid footsteps approaching their garage. Dr. Hart exchanged worried glances with Leo as they both held their breath, listening intently. Do you think it's the authorities? Leo whispered nervously. It could be, Dr. Hart replied cautiously, contemplating their next move. We need to be prepared for anything. Just then, there was a knock on the door, firm and authoritative. This is Officer Reynolds. Open up. Dr. Hart's heart raced as she exchanged glances with Leo again. They both knew they had to act quickly if they wanted to protect their discovery. Hide everything, she hissed urgently as they scrambled to cover the device with tools and scrap materials scattered across the workbench. Quick! Leo whispered back as he shoved his phone into his pocket and helped Dr. Hart conceal their work just in time before Officer Reynolds entered the garage. The officer stepped inside, his expression stern as he surveyed the cluttered space before resting his gaze on them. What are you two doing here? We received reports of unusual energy readings coming from this area. Dr. Hart cleared her throat, trying to maintain composure despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Just some experiments, nothing illegal. Leo nodded vigorously in agreement, hoping to convince Officer Reynolds of their innocence while praying that their hidden device remained undetected. The officer raised an eyebrow skeptically but seemed slightly appeased by their response. Well, make sure you keep it down, we don't need any more incidents tonight. He glanced around one last time before stepping back outside and closing the door behind him. As soon as they heard his footsteps fade away into the distance, both Leo and Dr. Hart let out a collective sigh of relief. That was too close, Leo said breathlessly as he leaned against the workbench for support. Dr. Hart nodded gravely. They had narrowly escaped detection this time but knew that their secret wouldn't remain hidden for long if they continued experimenting with such powerful technology. We need to finish our work quickly, she said decisively, determination flashing in her eyes once more as she turned back toward their project with renewed vigor. With adrenaline fueling their efforts once again, they dove headfirst into refining their invention, each adjustment made with care as they raced against time and uncertainty looming just outside those garage doors, waiting patiently, watching closely, observing everything unfolding within confines, sacred space shared between two unlikely allies, brought together fate, destiny, intertwining lives forever changed, irrevocably altered course, future lay ahead, waiting patiently just beyond horizon, stretching infinitely outward forevermore. The alien encounter. High Commissioner Zeke was having a terrible Galactic Standard day. First, the antimatter coffee machine had achieved sentience again and was refusing to serve anyone who couldn't solve differential equations. Then his quantum stapler had merged all his reports into a single superposition of paperwork, leaving him buried under a mountain of bureaucratic chaos. Now, he had to do yet another routine assessment of that backwater planet, Earth. Begin preliminary scan of Earth's technological advancements, he gurgled through his respiratory tentacles, settling into his ergonomic hovering chair. And please tell the coffee machine that I did pass advanced calculus, even if it was 3 centuries ago. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the familiar blue-green planet that had been classified as mostly harmless for the past few millennia. Zeke settled in for another boring report about how humans were still amusing themselves with primitive concepts like quantum computing and nuclear fusion. Report compilation beginning, the computer chimed, its voice monotone and robotic. Coffee machine requests proof of understanding of multivariable calculus before proceeding, it added. Zeke sighed deeply. Just show me the highlights of human technological development over the past solar rotation. The display began cycling through images, humans staring at primitive rectangular communication devices, vehicles still using wheel locomotion, and something called TikTok that the computer flagged as potentially hazardous to sanity. Standard stuff, Zeke muttered, not fascinated at all. They're still using silicon-based computing, how quaint. Computer, analyze their energy production methods, he commanded. Humans continue to utilize a combination of fossil fuels, renewable resources, and nuclear fission. No significant advancement in antimatter containment or zero-point energy extraction, exactly as expected. And their space program is still limited to their own solar system, he continued. Current technology suggests they are approximately. Zeke, the computer interrupted, species shows minimal advancement in key technological areas. Maintains classification 3B, pre-spacefaring civilization with delusions of adequacy. Add a note about their continued obsession with something called cat videos. Zeke rubbed his sensory nodes tiredly. Just mark it down as equipment malfunction. It's not like the humans could do anything interesting with advanced technology even if they found it. He recalled the last time they discovered a piece of a subspace communicator and turned it into something called a Bluetooth speaker. Noted, sir, the computer replied. Though I feel compelled to point out that the speaker did achieve 73% better battery life than their standard technology. Yes, Zeke waved dismissively. They're very good at accidentally stumbling into minor improvements. Next you'll tell me they'll figure out how to build a proper laser cannon in their habitat units. Statistical probability of humans developing weapons-grade laser technology in a residential setting, approximately 0.37%. Exactly. Now about that coffee. The computer's display suddenly flickered again. Sir, I'm detecting an unusual energy signature from the planet's surface. Probably just another nuclear reactor test, or maybe they're trying to microwave another gas station burrito, Zeke said dismissively. Negative, sir, the computer corrected him. This signature closely matches the theoretical output of a Class 7 photonic devastator. Zeke's color membranes paled slightly. That's clearly impossible. Humans haven't even mastered basic plasma containment, yet. Computer, location of the energy signature? Zeke demanded. A residential area in what humans designate as suburban America, specifically, a garage. A what? Zeke exclaimed incredulously. A primitive storage structure typically used to house wheeled vehicles and according to my database accumulate items humans call junk. Zeke stared at the readout, all four of his eyes blinking in disbelief. Computer, run the scan again and tell that coffee machine I need something stronger than antimatter brew. Running scan, also sir, the missing technology from monitoring station 7 has been located. Where? Zeke asked impatiently. In the same garage, sir, the computer replied smoothly. Though the energy signature suggests it's been modified with what appears to be something humans call duct tape. For the first time in his 300-year career as a galactic bureaucrat, High Commissioner Zeke felt a genuine sense of concern, not because of the energy signature itself but because of what it implied. Somewhere on that primitive planet, a human had taken advanced alien technology and instead of worshipping it or trying to reverse engineer it properly had apparently hotwired it with primitive materials into something that shouldn't be possible. Computer, he said slowly, send a priority message to the Galactic Council and add a footnote to that report, classification update needed, species shows alarming tendency toward improvised technological advancement, potential threat level, OD. Back on Earth, Marcus Mac O'Reilly was blissfully unaware of the cosmic implications of his latest experiment unfolding just beyond his garage door. He had 3 rules for garage inventing: never work without snacks, always keep the fire extinguisher within reach, and if something starts humming in a pitch that makes your teeth vibrate, either unplug it immediately or film it for posterity. Right now, the strange device on his workbench was hitting a frequency somewhere between angry quantum bees and reality having hiccups. Fascinating. He muttered while adjusting his safety goggles as Mrs. Chen's drone captured everything from a safe distance. According to Marcus's readings, this thing was either a revolutionary power source or a very inefficient paperweight. He'd spent hours connecting the alien device to various instruments, most of which he'd built himself from spare parts and optimistic interpretations of physics. His quantum field detector, a contraption mostly made from recycled smartphone parts, was giving readings that made him question either his sanity or the fundamental laws of the universe, knowing his track record probably both. The problem, he explained to his audience of one, the hovering drone, is that this technology seems to operate on principles that make quantum mechanics look simple. It's like someone took Einstein's equations, folded them into origami and then used them to make a paper airplane that actually breaks the light-speed barrier. Mrs. Chen's latest live stream was breaking all her previous records. Her followers were particularly enjoying Marcus's habit of talking to his inventions like they were stubborn students in a physics class. Now, according to my calculations, he continued while connecting yet another wire to his latest creation, a quantum energy amplifier made from 3 broken gaming consoles and a modified laser pointer, if I channel this power through this array. Suddenly there was an unexpected surge from the alien device. It started glowing with light that somehow seemed to be every color at once, including several colors that shouldn't exist in their dimension. The quantum energy amplifier vibrated at such an intensity that nearby dust particles started questioning their life choices. Okay. Minor setback, Marcus announced cheerfully as he reached for his emergency snack stash. Nothing a little human ingenuity and about 6 cans of energy drink can't solve. 3 hours later, and several reality-bending attempts later, Marcus had rigged up an apparatus resembling what would happen if a laser pointer had a child with a particle accelerator, and then that child got really into steampunk aesthetics. Duct tape featured prominently in this design along with parts from his failed quantum toaster and something that might have once been part of a gaming PC's water cooling system. Final test, he declared triumphantly while positioning his creation toward nearby Mount Richardson, a direction chosen specifically because there was nothing between his garage and the mountain except empty fields. He learned that lesson after the quantum coffee maker incident. As he powered up in 3, 2, 1. The device hummed and sparked. Suddenly every electronic device within a mile radius decided to take an unexpected vacation from functioning. The power grid in 3 states hiccuped. Somewhere in orbit several satellites briefly convinced themselves they were late for an important tea party. Through his hastily donned welding mask, Marcus watched as his creation fired off a beam of coherent light capable enough to make any Death Star feel inadequate about its life choices. The beam hit Mount Richardson, and for one brief moment, physics took a step back, looked at what was happening and decided to go on break. When light faded and Marcus's vision returned, he found himself staring through his garage at what now existed where part of Mount Richardson used to be. Well, he said after long moments spent staring at this new reality shift before him while contemplating implications involved here regarding local authorities being informed about this new tunnel through mountain technically qualifying as particle physics experiment. I should probably write down how I did that. He mused right after figuring out how best explain authorities why there's now hole through mountain where once stood solid rock before. The showdown. As the dust settled around the newly formed tunnel in Mount Richardson, Marcus Mac O'Reilly stood in stunned silence, contemplating the implications of his latest experiment. His garage, once a sanctuary for his questionable inventions, was now a hub of chaos. The sirens in the distance grew louder, signaling that the local authorities were on their way to investigate the bizarre events unfolding in his neighborhood. Great, Marcus muttered under his breath, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Just what I need, more paperwork. Mrs. Chen's drone buzzed around him, capturing every moment for her ever-growing audience. This is going to be epic, she exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement as she filmed the aftermath of Marcus's latest mishap. "My followers are going to love this." "Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much I love the idea of explaining to Chief Morgan why there's a tunnel through a mountain," Marcus replied, glancing nervously at the entrance of his garage. He could already imagine the Fire Chief's incredulous expression when he saw the scene before him. Just then, a loud knock echoed from outside, followed by Chief Morgan's voice booming through the door. "Mac! Open up. We need to talk about what just happened." Marcus exchanged a worried glance with Mrs. Chen before reluctantly moving toward the door. "Here goes nothing," he said, bracing himself for whatever was about to unfold. As he opened the door, Chief Morgan stood there with his arms crossed, looking both exasperated and amused. "You've done it again, haven't you?" he said, shaking his head. "What was it this time? Another toaster incident?" "Actually," Marcus began sheepishly, "it was more of a—" "Don't even try to explain," Chief Morgan interrupted, waving a hand dismissively. "Just tell me if anyone's hurt and how many citations I'm going to have to write up this time." "No one's hurt," Marcus assured him quickly. "I mean, unless you count my pride." He gestured toward the tunnel behind him. "But that's just an experimental particle physics project gone slightly awry." Chief Morgan raised an eyebrow skeptically as he stepped inside the garage and took in the sight of Marcus's latest creation, a chaotic amalgamation of wires and duct tape that seemed to pulse with energy. "Slightly awry? You've created a tunnel through a mountain. Do you have any idea how much trouble this is going to cause?" "Look," Marcus said defensively, "it wasn't supposed to happen like this. I was just trying to channel some energy through that alien device I found." "Alien device?" Chief Morgan echoed incredulously. "Yes," Marcus exclaimed, growing more animated as he spoke. "I found this strange piece of technology that operates on principles we don't even understand yet. I thought it could be revolutionary." Chief Morgan pinched the bridge of his nose in frustration. "And you thought firing it at a mountain was a good idea?" "Technically speaking," Marcus replied hesitantly, "the reading suggested it would be safe." "Safe?" Chief Morgan interrupted again, his voice rising in disbelief. "You've turned part of Mount Richardson into Swiss cheese. What do you think will happen when word gets out? The government will be all over this place." At that moment, another loud noise interrupted their conversation, a low rumble that seemed to emanate from deep within the newly formed tunnel. "What now?" Chief Morgan asked warily as they both turned toward the source of the sound. Suddenly, a bright light burst from within the tunnel, illuminating the garage and casting strange shadows on the walls. The light pulsed rhythmically as if something was moving inside. "Oh," Marcus said nervously. "That doesn't look good." Before they could react further, an enormous figure emerged from the tunnel, a creature unlike anything either of them had ever seen before. It stood at least 10 feet tall with shimmering skin that reflected colors like oil on water. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as it surveyed its surroundings. "What have you done?" it boomed in a voice that resonated through their bones. Hi." Marcus stammered awkwardly. Chief Morgan took a step back, clearly unsure how to handle this unexpected turn of events. Are you an alien?" he asked incredulously. "Yes," the creature replied emphatically. "I am Zorak of the Galactic Council. You have breached intergalactic protocols by activating my technology without authorization." Marcus blinked in disbelief as he processed what was happening. "Wait, you're saying that device I found belongs to you?" "Yes." Zorak thundered again, causing nearby tools to rattle on their shelves. "It is an advanced photonic devastator designed for energy manipulation. You have misused it." "I didn't mean to." Marcus protested quickly. "I just thought it was some kind of power source. I didn't know it belonged to an alien." Zorak paused for a moment as if considering Marcus's words before continuing more calmly. Your reckless actions have drawn attention from my superiors and may lead to severe consequences for your planet. Chief Morgan glanced at Marcus nervously before speaking up again. What kind of consequences? Zorak turned its glowing eyes toward Chief Morgan now. Your civilization is classified as 3B, pre-spacefaring with delusions of adequacy. However, your use of advanced technology poses a potential threat level, OD. OD? Chief Morgan echoed bewilderedly. Overwhelming danger, Zorak clarified sternly. Marcus felt his heart race as he realized they were in over their heads. He needed to think fast if they were going to avoid disaster. Wait, he exclaimed suddenly. What if we can help each other? You're here because of my experiment, maybe we can work together. Zorak regarded him with curiosity but remained cautious. Explain. I can show you how humans innovate using primitive technology, Marcus offered eagerly. We might not have your advanced understanding yet, but we're resourceful. If we collaborate instead of fighting over this misunderstanding. Chief Morgan looked skeptical but intrigued by Marcus's boldness in addressing an alien being who could easily wipe out their entire town without breaking a sweat. Zorak considered this proposition carefully before finally responding, very well, human inventor. Show me what your species is capable of. If you fail or misuse my technology again, there will be consequences. Marcus nodded vigorously, feeling both exhilarated and terrified at what lay ahead. This was not just about saving himself or his town anymore, it was about proving humanity's worthiness to engage with beings far beyond their understanding. As they began discussing ideas for collaboration amidst tension still lingering between them all, Marcus felt hope blossoming within him despite uncertainty looming overhead like storm clouds gathering on horizon threatening rain down chaos upon unsuspecting world below. Meanwhile, somewhere far above Earth aboard Zeke's spacecraft, a flurry of activity erupted among galactic bureaucrats who had received alarming updates regarding recent developments on their favorite blue planet. The resolution. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Marcus Mac O'Reilly stood at the threshold of his garage, staring at the newly formed tunnel that now pierced through Mount Richardson. The surreal scene before him was a blend of excitement and dread. He had just inadvertently created a portal of sorts, and now he had to face the consequences of his actions, not just from the local authorities but also from the cosmic implications of his reckless experimentation. Okay, think, Marcus, he muttered to himself, pacing back and forth. How do I explain this? Hey, Chief Morgan, I accidentally invented an interdimensional gateway while trying to make toast. That's not going to fly. Mrs. Chen's drone hovered nearby, capturing every moment for her eager audience. This is going to be one for the history books, she exclaimed, her voice filled with enthusiasm. You've just created a new tourist attraction. Right, because nothing says, welcome to Maplewood, like a giant hole in the mountain. Marcus shot back sarcastically. Despite the gravity of the situation, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of pride at what he had accomplished, albeit unintentionally. Just then, Chief Morgan arrived on the scene, his expression a mix of disbelief and irritation. Mac! What in the world have you done? He shouted as he stepped out of his vehicle, flanked by several firefighters and police officers who were equally bewildered. Well, Marcus started, scratching his head nervously. It's kind of complicated. You see, I was experimenting with this alien technology one found. Alien technology? Chief Morgan interrupted incredulously. You're telling me you've been playing with extraterrestrial devices in your garage? Technically speaking, Marcus replied cautiously, I didn't know it was alien until after I activated it. Chief Morgan pinched the bridge of his nose in frustration. And this is the result? A tunnel through Mount Richardson? Yes. Marcus said, gaining confidence as he explained. But it's not just a tunnel, it's a breakthrough in energy manipulation. This device could revolutionize how we harness power. The firefighters exchanged glances, unsure whether to be alarmed or intrigued. Chief Morgan sighed deeply and motioned for everyone to calm down. Let's focus on safety first. We need to assess any potential hazards before we start talking about breakthroughs. As they gathered around the entrance of the tunnel, Zorak, the alien engineer who had emerged earlier, appeared from within the shadows of the tunnel entrance. The towering figure stepped forward confidently, its shimmering skin reflecting the ambient light. "Greetings," Zorak announced in its deep voice that resonated through the air. "I am Zorak of the Galactic Council. I have come to address this situation." The crowd fell silent as they turned to face Zorak. Chief Morgan's eyes widened in shock as he processed what was happening before him. "What? Who are you?" he stammered. "I am here because your actions have disrupted intergalactic protocols," Zorak explained calmly. "However, I sense potential in your species' ingenuity." Marcus stepped forward hesitantly. "Zorak, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I was just trying to explore new possibilities." Zorak regarded him with an intensity that made Marcus feel both small and significant at once. "Your creativity is commendable but also dangerous if left unchecked." It turned its attention toward Chief Morgan and the assembled crowd. "I propose a collaboration between our species." "A collaboration?" Chief Morgan echoed skeptically. "Yes," Zorak continued. "If you allow me to assist in controlling this technology and understanding its potential applications, we can ensure that it is used responsibly." Marcus felt a surge of hope at Zorak's words. This was an opportunity not just for him but for humanity as a whole, a chance to learn from an advanced civilization rather than hide from them. "What do you have in mind?" Marcus asked eagerly. Zorak gestured toward the tunnel entrance. "We can establish a research facility here, an interspecies laboratory where humans and aliens can work together to explore energy manipulation safely." Chief Morgan exchanged glances with his team before responding cautiously. "This sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, but if it means ensuring safety for our town and preventing further incidents, I'll oversee everything," Zorak assured him with an unwavering gaze. "Together we can unlock new technologies that benefit both our worlds." After several moments of deliberation among themselves, Chief Morgan finally nodded slowly. "All right then, let's give this a shot." The crowd erupted into murmurs of excitement mixed with apprehension as they processed what had just transpired, a partnership between humans and aliens born out of chaos. As plans began taking shape for their collaborative research facility within Mount Richardson, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose wash over him. He would no longer be seen merely as an eccentric inventor, he would be part of something greater than himself, a bridge between worlds. Days turned into weeks as work commenced on transforming the tunnel into a state-of-the-art laboratory equipped with advanced alien technology alongside human ingenuity. The community rallied around Marcus's vision, even those who had once doubted him began to see potential where they had only seen chaos. Mrs. Chen continued documenting every step along the way. Her videos garnered millions of views online as people tuned in to witness history being made right in their backyard. Meanwhile, High Commissioner Zeke monitored developments from afar aboard his spacecraft, initially skeptical about humanity's capacity for responsible innovation but gradually warming up to their potential. "Perhaps these humans are more than just amusing primitives after all," he mused aloud while sipping on his antimatter coffee, which had finally stopped rebelling against him. Back on Earth, as Marcus stood at the entrance of their new facility alongside Zorak and Chief Morgan, he couldn't help but feel grateful for everything that had led him here, every failed experiment, every citation received from local authorities, all culminating in this moment where two worlds were set on a path toward collaboration rather than conflict. "Here's to new beginnings," Marcus declared enthusiastically as they raised their glasses filled with strange yet delicious beverages concocted from both human and alien recipes. Cheers erupted around them, a celebration not just of their achievements but also of what lay ahead, infinite possibilities waiting patiently beyond horizons stretching infinitely outward forevermore.